How's it, punters? Welcome back to the Best Sports Betting Podcast. We skipped out last week, but we're back this week, and we're going to be chatting about the Premier League, some of the crazy, crazy games that happened over the weekend. Going to talk about the F1, some of the golf, a look ahead at the Champions League, some tennis, and then an upcoming race in Monaco for the F1. Simon, let's start off with the Premier League. It was a cracking end to the season, I've got to say.
It was, sure. I don't think it could have been a much more dramatic finish, actually, to the season. I can't remember seeing such an exciting one. Obviously, Man
All thanks to
City.
Aston Villa, really.
Yeah, sure. I think that Liverpool really owe it to Villa for giving them such a great shot at winning the title. But in true Man City style, they robbed Liverpool of the title through some absolutely brilliant play. 3 goals in 5 minutes to come back from 2-0 down at home against Villa was really quite something. So it was, yeah, sure. When I looked at those two fixtures and I saw both Liverpool and City playing at home, these should be. I thought there's probably going to be some drama. There's probably going to be a draw sort of close towards the end, kind of like that Liverpool situation. I kind of saw that maybe happening, but I did not see such a great comeback to turn the whole situation on its head. It really was a very, very dramatic
Yeah,
finish.
I thought that it was going to be a win for an easy win for City, and Liverpool were going to pick up a win, and that was going to be that. But I was watching the City game when it was 1-0, and I'm like, wow. And then it went to 2-0, and I'm like, okay, City are not going to come back from this. Let me
Yeah,
go over to the Liverpool game, which was 1-1 at the time, and let me see if they're gonna pull it out. So I ended up watching the Liverpool game for about. I missed all the City goals, of course, because I was
yeah.
watching Liverpool, and then the guy was obviously the commentator was saying that they've scored 3 goals. I'm like, that can't be. And then
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
they actually did.
that's the thing too. Is when I was watching the Liverpool the Wolves game, and Liverpool were just knocking on the door constantly. So
Mm.
I thought it was only a matter of time before that Wolves defense broke. But so I thought, well, okay, so they're probably gonna score a goal and make it 2-1. But how is City gonna come back from a 2-0 deficit? So when Coutinho, of all people, for Villa scores the second goal against City, which is obviously just so, that's just fate, right? Because obviously he was a Liverpool
Liverpool,
star
yeah.
before. But I thought, well, that's that. It seemed totally decided to me. So that was really just what a brilliant finish. It was really, we had us on the edge of our seats right until the end. So great,
Yeah, and
great
it's
stuff.
we're chatting about doing a recap of our best and kind of worst performing teams of the season,
Mm.
surprises, and what is your season takeaway? Who surprised you the most? Which side?
Yeah, so I've got sort of three teams that I feel sort of slightly overachieved on their season for me, and one of them actually is Spurs. I think Spurs showed a lot of consistency this season compared to last season's, and I think they've really started flourishing under Conte.
Yes.
Obviously they also did a really good job of beating their North London rivals, Arsenal. To obviously book their place in the Champions League, which in itself is big bragging rights for the season. But I think in such a top-heavy league, where Liverpool and Man City really are cut above the rest, I think they did very, very well to only be beaten by Chelsea. Sort of best of the, or not second best of the rest, shall we say?
Yeah.
If we put Liverpool and City really kind of at the moment, they are sort of in their own league. They're almost playing their own tournament. And to only be beaten by Chelsea, I think Spurs did very well there. And the other team I think also overperformed is Brentford.
Yes. Yes.
The Hollywood Bet sponsored team, who spent their first season in the Premier League this season, and ended in a very, very good position. I think it was 11th.
I think it was the highest ever position. I was 13th. They ended up with. I
13th.
think it
Okay,
was
there.
the highest ever or points tally or something like that in the Premier League.
I think they actually started off the week and went into the last game week in
Yes.
10th and
Yes.
10th. Yeah, but very, very good. That's just really, really impressive. And I must say another team who have been around for a while in the Premier League, but I also think just for the simple fact that they kind of could beat anyone on a day that they played really well. They could kind of beat any team you put in front of them, and that's Crystal Palace. I think they just also they were just really, really great to watch. And I think probably slightly overachieved in 12th position
Yeah.
as to where they would have been expected to end up.
Yeah, for me, I agree with you on Brighton. I think Brighton was my biggest surprise package of the season. But we can't not talk about Newcastle, who at the beginning of the year was staring at relegation. They were pretty much bang on odds to be relegated. and then turned things around completely and ended up in 11th place. Can you believe it? I thought it was going to be a kind of scrappy battle. Would end up 14th, 15th, although there weren't too many points between, let's say 10th and like 15th around there. There was 9 points.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not too much, but great turnaround from Newcastle.
Yeah,
And yeah,
fantastic. And then, do you have any underachievers for the season, Rob?
Everton. I think Everton have been a huge underachiever this season.
Yeah.
Finding themselves potentially relegated with 2 games to go, and then they managed to pick up a huge win, which
Yes.
saved their skins. So I think they're my biggest disappointment of the season. None of the relegated teams are kind of. I mean, I'm surprised Leeds stayed up, but then again, only 3 teams get relegated, and I'd probably pick the bottom 4 as relegation candidates. Anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you on Everton. But I think for me, it's got to be Manchester United. I mean, it just
Yeah.
they continue to underperform their team sheet, and I think just lack the consistency that sort of any team competing for a league title needs to have. Yeah, I mean, I just think, I mean, a sixth place finish is just not good enough, I think, for a
No,
team of that caliber.
but to be fair, I mean, in the last season they also didn't, place particularly highly. If that makes
No,
sense.
you're right. You're right. They didn't. But I think most, I would imagine that most United fans would say that that was sort of a blip,
Mm,
and they would have expected them to be more closely at least competing for Champions League football. So I agree. Look, I think Everton are probably the biggest underperformers there. But I think you have to mention United, and
yes.
I do think under their new manager Eric Ten Hag, they should go in the right direction. I hope so. It's just nice to have a more competitive league. I mean, I can't see them competing with Liverpool and City next season, but maybe competing with Chelsea and Spurs. That would be good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also, yeah, it's just consistency. Keeping a manager there for a while. They got rid of their manager. Lots of topsy turvy times going on at United. So hopefully that'll settle down in the
Yeah.
next season, and we'll see a better performance from them. West Ham as well, I think, kind of underperformed. They were sitting really strong. Look, not that they
Mm.
could ended up any high on the table. They got to Europa. They can qualify for that. So I just thought they might be able to sneak in that Champions League spot if they'd kept up some
Yeah.
form. But they don't
Sure.
quite have the team sheet as some of the other sides. But yeah, great season. I'm glad it ended the way it did. Well, I mean, I wouldn't have minded seeing Liverpool win the title, but I'm glad we
Yeah.
had so much drama going on and it was such a close race. I mean, 1 point in it, that's incredible. And if you look at the goals, I mean, City scored 99 goals this season. Liverpool scored 94 goals this season, and they both conceded 26 goals.
Yeah, I was
So
looking at that. Obviously, when it was a possibility, it would go down to goal difference. Obviously, City would have nicked it, but quite funny that they both conceded the same amount.
absolutely, right there at the finish. So photo finish there, very happy with that. And then, yeah, relegation teams, just not too much to say about those. Kind of expected
Yeah,
them to go
I
down.
think you mentioned Brighton earlier instead of Brentford, but just wanted to clarify. I
Oh
assume you meant
yes,
Brentford. Yeah,
Brentford.
as one of the overperforming teams. Yeah,
Yes. So hopefully we see more from Brentford next season. I'm looking forward to that.
absolutely.
Yeah, obviously with what's his name, the Ericsson coming in, there's been a huge difference to them as well.
Yes,
So
100%.
so good on him for his recovery too. But yeah, Simon, we also had some F1 over the weekend. I saw that I think it was Drake had a $300,000 bet on
Yes,
Leclerc.
yes.
And I was like, well, why? Because he's Canadian. They're both Canadian, So, but I'm like, why? Why would you do that? So, I mean, of all the people that you're placing so much money on. Anyway, spoiler alert: he did not finish the race.
So yeah, Canadian. No, Leclerc is a Monaco. What's the word? It's someone from Monaco. It's a Monegasque
Do you want to
driver.
guess? Okay, okay.
Not Canadian. No, but yes, I saw that bet. Yeah, it's stake.com. They have a lot of these guys who they just sponsor to bet huge bucks on games, and basically I think they probably make more money from the hype around the
Yes.
bets than they
Well,
lose
they made money
because
off his bet.
exactly. But yeah, Red Bull. I mean, Red Bull made a 1-2 finish there in Barcelona at the Spanish GP. Verstappen actually, I mean, he finished ahead of his teammate Perez, but Perez was actually asked to let Verstappen pass him under team orders from the pit bull,
I
which
hate that
from
shit.
pit wall, which is of course frustrating for
Oh, it's
Perez.
terrible. It's terrible, man. I mean, I
But
understand you're playing, but you're
mm,
like, imagine you winning something, and it's not exactly like F1 wins are gonna be a diamond. Are gonna be something that's you're
yes,
gonna
oh
pick up
sure,
so many of in your career, and you've ridden an absolutely cracking race, and that
yeah.
because of strategy and all of that, you've got to let your teammate overtake you, not because he's better than you, but because yeah, you want him to win the season.
Yeah, look, I
It's
mean, last season, how many times that happened with
mm,
Bottas and Hamilton? I mean, but yeah, look, points are everything in the sport, and egos, I guess, can't be allowed to get in the way of money and
mm,
sponsorship. So, at the end of the day, you want to be trying to win one of or both of the drivers in the constructors'
mm,
championship, and if letting a driver passes you lets you puts 100 million in your pocket, the next season or whatever, you're going to do it. It's just that
yeah.
simple.
I just feel it's like letting it's like Wolves letting Liverpool score or something.
Yeah,
It's
no, I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you.
anyway.
Yeah, so actually, I mean, that allowed Verstappen to keep his perfect record of first place finishes when he's actually finished the race this season. So he's finished 4 out of 6 races and he's won 4 out of 6 races. Which, look, again, yeah, obviously this one would come into question, but it's still a good record nonetheless. But yeah, not a great race for Ferrari. Obviously, as you mentioned, Leclerc pulled out. Power unit issues forced him to pull out the race, but he was looking good. He was leader of the pack there for a while. And Mercedes also had a good race. Russell bagging another podium.
Yes, your boy, eh?
Yeah, and Hamilton coming in fourth just behind him. Yeah, Russell qualified in third and then held his position. So good job there. He just he stayed where he was in qualifying. But geez, Hamilton came all the way back from 19th at one point.
Yes,
Uh,
it kind of given up almost from
yeah, he
what
came all the
sounded
way.
over the team radio.
Yeah, he lost a few positions to 19th, and then he came all the way back up to fourth. So it just shows you the Mercedes car is certainly not lacking in pace. And I must say, we'll talk about it just now, but I think we'll see another strong race from Mercedes in Monaco. And even though it's not necessarily a track that they perform well at, I think. I think dare I say it, there's a possibility of certainly a Russell, but even a Hamilton win. But we'll get there. We'll get there a bit later. But yeah, for looking at the overall standings now, that for that win in for Red Bull in Barcelona, that puts Verstappen 6 points ahead of Leclerc in the drivers' championship, and 26 Red Bull 26 points ahead of Ferrari in the constructors' championship. So yeah, Red Bull looking dominant now.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see what happens in Monaco. Hopefully we can see Mercedes come back as well as you mentioned. But we'll get
Mm.
to that in a bit. Then some golf over the weekend, Simon PGA.
Yeah, sure. This was I must say I was rooting so hard for the big underdog here. So Mito Pereira, who's a Chilean golfer, he started the fourth round in the lead. He had a three-stroke lead actually. But yeah, Justin Thomas made the biggest comeback, or tied biggest comeback in USPGA Championship history, because he went into a playoff with Will Zalatoris, which he won on the third hole. But yeah, Thomas had a 3 under in his first 2 rounds, 3 under in both of his first 2 rounds, and he had a terrible third round. He shot 4 over par, and then he came back with seven. He was 7 shots behind Mito Pereira, the leader. Mito Pereira, by the way, was odds of 320 to 1 to
Oh,
win before the tournament
wow.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Golf,
he's
eh?
he's he's yeah look. I mean, last year Phil Mickelson won at odds of 140, so it would have been more impressive than that. But the PGA Championship, out of all the majors, has this. There's a tendency for some of these big odds players to come through. But yeah, so Thomas was 7 shots off the pace and brought it all the way back. So really, really good job from him. I must say, I really enjoyed this course. PGA is not typically a very tough course setup. But it was Southern Hills in Oklahoma, but it was a really, really good test. They have a lot of steep runoffs around the greens, so which are really, really unforgiving, and often they sort of lead into creeks. So you miss the green, and then not only does your ball run off and you've got a big chip, but sometimes it just will run
Goes for a
straight into it,
swim. Yeah.
goes for a swim. So it's just it was tough. And also obviously Oklahoma's, I mean, they don't call it the windy state. I mean, it really can blow there hard, and especially on Thursday, there were some really big gusts, which actually makes Thomas is 3 under, just almost improbable because he had the worst of the weather on day one, and he managed to still get to the clubhouse on 3 under. So really, really good job. So yeah, it was I must say a very, very cool tournament. I wasn't sure quite what to expect from this course, but I hope we see another PGA at this course, Southern Hills. It was really cool.
All right, Simon. Then we've got the big one taking place this Saturday, 9 o'clock. It's Liverpool against Real Madrid, and sure, what a cracking game this one's building up to be. I just wish Liverpool would be in a little better form. I was a bit concerned watching them against Wolves. They did look a bit headless at times, so that does give me a lot of worry about them going into this game against a really strong Madrid side.
Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously a heartbreaking finish to the end of the EPL season for Liverpool. I guess you could say almost snatched from the jaws of victory.
Yeah,
Man City
but
takes it.
completely
So
out of their control, to be fair.
they're
It
completely
was,
out of their
yeah,
control. At the end of the day, they did the job. They won
yeah.
3-1 against Wolves. So nothing they could do there. But yeah, another shot at silverware and the elusive treble. And I was actually interested to read. United are actually the only team to win the treble. Any only English team to have ever won the treble, and that was in the 1998-1999 season, obviously under none other than Alex Ferguson. So Liverpool, I guess, bookies' favourites to break a 23-year long duck. So yeah, I mean, it really. I mean, obviously, if they'd won the EPL title, that would have been the quadruple, which only one team has ever won in the history of football. But a treble would still be amazing, and obviously Liverpool just over even money to do that. So yeah, looking at the odds, I'm kind of in a funny place with this one, because I think that the odds on Liverpool are slightly short,
I think they're very, very short. To
but
2.11 round there. I think that's a little bit generous.
so yeah, look, considering Real Madrid's form and their history in the Champions League, which is just amazing, um, I'm still reluctant to bet against Liverpool, and like I just think that if Liverpool properly show up, they could really win this quite comfortably. And as you say, the form they just haven't looked quite themselves, Liverpool of late. But I feel like I can't say that I think these odds are wrong. I don't know. I think that if the right team, if Liverpool rock up and play a good game, I think that they will win this quite comfortably. So I'm just I want to back Real Madrid here in the sense that I think there's a bit of value, but I'm just not quite comfortable doing it.
I think Real Madrid are going to take this one. It's just a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not overly impressed by Liverpool. Their last couple finals haven't been fantastic. You look at the final against Chelsea. Also, that was not too long ago. I don't want to say their form's dipping because they have picked up results and they've picked up wins, but Real Madrid are a slightly different beast, and there's a lot of kind of history between the two sides with 3-1 and all of that. So I mean, there's been a couple of games where there's been 3 goals. I know it goes way back, not really.
So Liverpool have a history of going into penalties and finals. I mean,
Yes,
obviously,
yes.
if you look at the Caribou Cup final against Chelsea, penalties, and the FA Cup final against Chelsea, penalties. So I think especially with obviously a red hot Real Madrid as their next opponents, I think, especially if you think those odds on Liverpool are a bit short and you think that they shouldn't be the favourite team, I mean, why not back? I mean, if you could back a draw, but you could get even more value and back it going to penalties. I mean, it's definitely not a bad chance of that. I mean, if you consider how short Liverpool's odds are to lift the trophy, if you look at that 1.58, right, compared to their match odds, which are 2.07, it looks like the bookies are almost half expecting extra time or penalties.
What are the odds I'm looking for the Madrid to lift the trophy odds? Because that's a bet that I'm actually looking for at the moment.
So
Like 2?
let me just go back to my page. I was looking at the odds on GBets, but I'll tell you in a minute.
Yeah, because I'm looking over here on bet,
yeah,
but I just can't seem to
so
find it.
1.58 for Liverpool to lift the trophy, and it's 2.4 for Real Madrid.
Ooh, that's a lot, eh? See, I
To lift the
prefer
trophy.
that. I don't know. So I was looking at double chance draw Real Madrid 1.71.
It's quite short.
Yeah, it's quite short, but it covers that draw, and I do feel Madrid are gonna win the game. I just don't know if they're gonna win it in penalties or in normal time. So
Well, then,
that's
I
my
mean,
conundrum.
I think you're much better off than going for to lift the trophy than backing the double chance, personally.
The thing is, they could draw the game and lose in extra time or penalties,
Yeah,
and
yeah, no, sure. But yeah,
but
I was quite interested to see the gap there, because
yeah,
it
it's
almost
huge.
tells you the Liverpool, the bookies are sort of expecting that there's a very good chance that this could go, as I said, either to extra time or penalties. So that's maybe a market to look at. I mean, obviously, you're getting much shorter odds on either team to lift the trophy because of the fact that it should be obviously, as finals should be, very closely contested. But that's somewhere I might look. But yeah, as I said, I'm struggling for a bet here. I do. As I said, I want to get with Real Madrid. I think the odds are slightly short, but something's just telling me that Liverpool could easily get the job done here if they rock up. So I like that. And in terms of lifting the trophy, maybe there's a bit of value there on Real Madrid to do so. But I'm not really a fan of the double chance, to be honest.
Both teams to score and goals. I mean, over 2.5 and both teams to score is 1.86, which is actually pretty decent.
Yeah,
Liverpool to win, both teams to score 3.65. Also, but that's also 90 minutes only. I mean, then
yeah,
you've got, I guess, Real Madrid and both teams to score is 5.4, also 90 minutes, but also quite a juicy one. And there's a few nice markets here like Liverpool or over 2.5. The odds are terrible, but there are some pretty interesting markets. Um, I think I'm going to stick with my Liverpool double chance and go against the mighty Reds. I think that's going
okay.
to be my call.
Real Madrid
Real
double
Madrid
chance.
double chance.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I'm just taking that because I think the game is, like you said, going to go to extra time, but I can't really pick a winner. I'm
yeah,
not going to get value backing the draw at that much value at
yeah.
3.65. I think Madrid, either side can win this in the 90.
Sure.
I'm not getting that much value on Liverpool straight up 2.1. Yeah, it's not bad, but this is a final. If it was about 2.4, 2.3, I'd be more tempted.
Mm.
I feel like the draw should be a little lower odds wise, and I feel like Liverpool should be a bit more to drift, or should be a bit higher in the odds department there.
Sure. Anyway, regardless, it should be an exciting match to
Yeah,
watch.
so you're going with Pool, I'm going with Madrid.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens next week. I didn't have a good week 2 weeks ago with Arsenal. Man, they just really imploded for me.
Yes, sure. I mean, I must say, 3 weeks ago, I thought they were almost a lock to end in the league above
Spurs, yeah.
in the league above Spurs. Yeah. So
Newcastle came and crashed that down. Fortunately, I
yeah,
thought they were a bit of a banker,
absolutely.
and Newcastle just manhandled them. But
Sure. Beat them without even conceding. Yeah, 2-0.
yeah, crazy, crazy, crazy results. But yeah, that basically knocked them out of the Champions. Well, other than them losing to Spurs, of course. But yeah, going on to tennis, Simon, and
Mm,
Betway have a fantastic promotion that I am actually taking part in. It's
yeah.
called Battle of the Surfaces, and basically what it's about is you need to take a bet of 10 Rand or more each day during the Battle of the Surfaces promotion. There's R1,000,000 up for grabs and prizes, which is 100,000 Rand to the grand prize winner, 100 Rand every day for 100 players, and a trip to Wimbledon in 2023. Now, it's basically a head-to-head player. I see I've got Anna today. You place bets, as I said, minimum of 10 Rand. You're battling against one other player each round, and for each win that you get points that go on the leaderboard. It's a bit complicated to explain, so I suggest if you guys do want to enter this, go over to BSB or Betting Guide. We've
Yeah, I
got a
mean, I
write up
guess
about
I
it.
guess the thing to remember there is, yeah, so 1 point for every 10 Rand you bet. And the more bets you place, the more chance of winning you have, basically.
Yes.
And there's sort of three prize categories. The first, so you have 100 Rand free bets, which are given away 100 in each Grand Slam. And then you have the grand prize of 100,000 Rand in cash, and then you have the even bigger grand prize, which is the trip to Wimbledon in 2023. But to qualify, basically, the minimum you need to do to qualify is to place at least one 10 Rand bet um, uh,
On any
on
of
the
the
tournament.
Grand Slam matches, and I've
And,
been
and,
doing
and then
that.
don't forget that when you place your bet, you must go and find an
Opponents,
opponent.
yes.
So yeah, you gotta go to the promotions page, enter the tournament. You'll choose an avatar, and you'll choose your player name, your alias, and then an opponent will be randomly selected for you, and then you're good to go.
So what I've been doing, Simon, is I played this yesterday, and I'm playing it today. I'm going to be playing it, I guess, for the rest of, well, the promotional period. And I've been taking the favorites. I've been taking the favorites like 1.05, those favorites to win their matches because it's easy points. And I managed to beat my opponent 4-0 yesterday because he didn't place any bets. And I'm actually currently on the leaderboard as well.
Nice. Okay.
I'm not very high up. I think I'm like 15th or 20th with my 11 points. But there's a chap called Nikov who's already got 2,453 points.
Wow.
So he's placed what is that, 20,000 round of bets?
Something in bets. Yeah.
20 grand of bets. And the next, the one behind him in second place is Nasty Nate, who's only got 657 points. And then there's DeHaunt with 233 points. So looks like Nikov over there is already probably going to take that one prize. But there are those vouchers up for grabs.
And just remember, this will be running for the next 3 Grand Slams. So obviously we've had the Australian Open already, but for the French Open, Roland Garros, which is currently happening, and then the Wimbledon and the US Open after that. So you can it only expires on the 11th of September.
Yeah, long time. So what I suggest you do is, if you want to enter this, go take. Let me have a quick look at my bets from yesterday. I was just taking straight up favorites, heavy favorites, and just hoping that they'd win, and they pretty much did win. I don't think any of them lost. Let's see. Here we go. I had. Oh wait, where's my settled bets? There we go. Okay, so all of them won. I had maybe some sweats here. I'm not even sure. I had Silic to win yesterday. I had basically just favorites. Silic was like heavy favorite. He won. I think he won in straight sets anyway. My 10 rand won me 40 cents, just to show you how big a favorite he was. And that's what I've done with all my other bets as well. I'm just taking the favorites at really short odds and hoping that I can get something on the leaderboard. Well, I am on the leaderboard, so if I get an opponent, because most of your opponents I don't think are going to be playing that much. I don't think there's going to be too many people playing this, to be honest, every single day. So there's a good chance of picking up some points. But yes, I'm just talking about tennis. Let's jump straight into the current tennis tournament.
So obviously we kicked off yesterday. So odds obviously moved slightly on the outrights, but I just thought I'd give a quick outright preview. Look, obviously second Grand Slam of the year. We're beating Roland Garros. It's the final clay court tournament of the year. So those who don't know, sort of tennis moves in swings, they call them, of different surfaces. So we're at the end of the clay court swing. So this is kind of, the grand finale of all the clay court tournaments until obviously the following year. So right now, I must say, Djokovic looks to be in very, very good nick. In fact, I think he's in the best nick he's been in about 3 years. And as much as I love Carlos Alcaraz, and if you've listened to this podcast before, you'll know I have a huge respect.
Ooh, Simon, I think you cut off there.
Meteoric, it's brilliant.
Sorry, you cut off there for a second. You were talking about your huge admiration.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so I think that Carlos Alcaraz is getting a little bit too much love in the market here, and Nadal is definitely suffering from injuries. So, he's not necessarily nursing an injury right now, but he's been injured. So I just think that, his body is starting to break down. Obviously, I think he's 35 now, 36. So it's, he's getting older. These injuries are coming more and more regularly. I just think there's a very, very good chance that Nadal could get knocked out fairly soon, to be honest. I'm not seeing him going all the way this time.
He's kind of on his last legs, to be honest. I mean,
and obviously this is his this is his strongest surface. I mean, he's won this tournament 13 times. But honestly, I think Djokovic looks a very, very nice bet, and I think you can still get him. He was at 2.75 yesterday before his match. I'm not sure what he's available now. It might be probably closer to 2.6 or 2.5. But honestly, I think anything better than even money right now on Djokovic is great, because Tsitsipas, to me, in my opinion, is the only other real player with a serious chance of beating Djokovic besides Nadal and Alcaraz. So I just think, I think if Alcaraz wasn't around, to be honest, I think Djokovic would be closer to 8 to 10 to win the title. So I think 2.75 is actually a very decent price. And yeah, look, Alcaraz could easily stumble. This is his first Roland Garros event. So yeah, I think it's a strong possibility that he sort of underperforms a bit. And then just a quick talk quickly about the ladies' draw. It's quite funny because we always talk about the ladies' draw being much more open than the others,
Yes.
and it kind of is. But there's a very worthy favorite here, and it's. I mean, Iga Swiatek is just playing out of his socks at the moment, and she's at odds of 1.75. Well, she was yesterday. She might even be even less now to win the title, and that sounds ridiculous, but to be honest, it's really justified. She is really, really. There's no one that's got stats anywhere near her. She's so dominant on clay at the moment. But just some advice I can give you if you want to back players, especially around this at this sort of odds level in a Grand Slam. One strategy you can use, which I've used in the past, if you want to back a player, around 1.8 or 1.9 or even money, is to, as opposed to just backing them on the outright, rather back them in each match and then take all your winnings and lump it onto the next match. So this way, the chances are you'll get paid out more by the end than just taking them on the outright. So what you're really hoping for then is that some other players will improve and their odds will be slightly bigger, or their odds. So basically, the player that you backed, his odds will basically go up in the tournament, but you're just going to keep on placing your bet on them again and again from match to match, take all your winnings and lump it down. And you'll generally end up with, if your player wins, obviously, more money in your account than you would have if you just took a straight bet of, whatever it is, 100 Rand at odds of 1.75. If you just take that 100, put it on odds of 1.05, whatever it is, and then the next match, put it on odds of whatever it is, 1.12. And even if these are very, very small odds, generally adds up to a bigger payout than you would have backing them on the outright. So just a piece of advice: if you want to back a player like Iga Swiatek, and you can't bring yourself to back such a small price, try that method, and I can almost guarantee you that you'll end up with more money in your account if she wins than you would have if you backed on the outrights.
Okay, some nice advice there. Hopefully, some tennis punters that will take you up on that. And then Simon, another one, hot topic for you coming up is the GP.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, it's safe to say this is the most popular track and weekend of racing on the calendar every year.
You're going to take your little dinky yacht down?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Your 15cc rubber duck and go live
which
it up
one?
Rich and Famous?
Which one do you mean?
Which one? I think
Yeah.
the 15cc one, the two-person one, the one that doesn't have the air leak. I think.
Sure. I mean, Monaco is, I mean, it's easily the most famous street circuit in F1. And I mean, the extreme lavishness, as you mentioned, around this event make it really popular, with all the yachts and pretty girls and champagne being popped all over the place. And obviously you've got Charlene, the Princess of Monaco, presenting the trophy, who's such a belter, by the way. And you obviously only see like the wealthiest celebs flaunting their wealth for all to see. And so it is quite a spectacle always. But yeah, I mean, talking about the track, I imagine almost anyone who's seen any F1's probably watched a Monaco before. But yeah, in a city street circuit, so lots of twists and turns, which arguably, looking at the cars and the drivers and so on, plays a little bit more into Ferrari's hands because there's less need for straight line speed, where Red Bull are slightly dominant over Ferrari. However, obviously Leclerc being from Monaco, I always want to get this wrong, Monges. He's Monges. I don't know why they say Monges, but if you're from Monaco, that's what you called Monges. Anyway, this is his home race. Charles Leclerc, obviously of Ferrari. I mean, I can't believe his price here, though. I don't see any value in backing him around even money, especially when Max Verstappen has all the momentum. But yeah, his home Grand Prix, and believe it or not, Charles Leclerc is yet to finish a single race in 4 starts here. So even more reason to think he's quite a risky bet at such short odds. So he's never finished a single race here in 4 starts. So that's quite something. But yeah, as I was mentioning earlier, I know it's not an historically great track for Mercedes, but I think we're going to see a strong race from them here in Monaco.
Not fancying Hamilton at 9.0. I mean, geez, it's quite a big thing. I mean, it's Monaco as well, as you mentioned. Like, I'm sure Mercedes can be in there.
Yeah, look, as I mentioned, it's not actually a great. It's not been a happy hunting ground for Mercedes, generally speaking.
Okay.
Especially Bottas, who's, I mean, Bottas's odds of 125, and now obviously he's not with Mercedes anymore. He's with Alfa Romeo, but he's been in
Sorry,
the
I'm
top.
sorry. I'm looking at the wrong thing here, Simon. I'm looking at the qualification. But yeah. But anyway,
Oh,
he's
I
he's
see. I
actually
was
he's
gonna.
actually he's actually 18.0.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen Hamilton around 25s at different bookies, so you can get him on an even bigger price than that. But Bottas is at 125 to 1 to win the race. Now, I'm not saying there's a very good chance of him winning, but he's finished in the top 10 in every race but one. So I think if you, to back him for a podium, and I haven't looked at the odds this morning, so I can't tell you off the top of my head what a podium for Bottas would be, but I imagine you're getting almost close to double figures there.
Bottas, look, this is on Betway, maybe not the best, but it's about
Hmm.
7.0. So probably
7.0,
looking
okay.
somewhere like GBets or Sportsnet.
Yeah, so I must say I Bottas has been, considering the car he's in, I think he's been racing really well. It just shows you, it's another discussion really, but he was playing second fiddle to Hamilton last season, but he is a brilliant driver. So anyway, so I think, looking at the odds board, I think there's no value in Leclerc. Honestly, I think backing him at that price to win a race where he hasn't
Even
finished in
money
four starts
almost.
is
Yeah.
really risky. I think that all the momentum's with Max. I don't like to take short bets in Formula One. I'd rather take my chances. So but I'd still much rather back Max here, just because the momentum's with him. But for a value bet, definitely Valtteri Bottas to make a podium. Odds of around 6 to 1, whatever you can get. I think that's what the value's at. And if you want to take Russell maybe for a straight win,
I was
um,
looking at that. Just a nice little outside. I mean, wow, you've got two guys starting at pretty much even money. Then it goes up to 15 to 1
yeah.
for the next
I
two,
mean, look,
next
Russell
three.
again finished above Hamilton. It was only the first race where Hamilton's finished above Russell. So, and the bookies are now, it finally adjusted the odds. So
Yes.
now you're finally getting a shorter price on Russell, which is obviously where it should be. I mean, I think that was bound to happen eventually. But yeah, I mean, Russell, he's finished in the top five in every single race, and he got a podium last week. So why not? I mean, it just takes a crash from one of the real big boys. Oh, anything can happen.
No, let them
So
crash into each other then.
there we go. Yeah, Verstappen and Leclerc crash, and who knows what can happen. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think you got to look a bit further down the odds board than Leclerc. But I mean, look, I'm not going to say he shouldn't be the favorite, but I just can't. I can't
Doesn't have
back
a
him at
great
those odds.
history at the track.
He
Yeah.
doesn't have a great history, and I think that the bookmakers are they know the money is going to come for him because it's his home race, so they're preempting that, and that's why the odds are where they are. So I just don't think there's any value there.
Maybe we should pop down to Monaco over the weekend and open up
Oh
a
yeah,
little betting shop there.
absolutely.
On the dinky yacht, we can sail around with an odds board.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have so much money, our boat would probably sink. But yeah, guys, that's the end of the podcast. We'll be back next week. It's probably going to be the last one for a while because of the end of most major football and all of that. We'll see. We might have a couple specials coming up, but we will have a Champions League recap and see what else we can squeeze together next week. But yeah, if you guys haven't checked it out already, go over to Betway and check out that Battle of the Surfaces promotion. I think it's a really easy one to get into. I've personally had lots of luck on some of these Betway promotions in the past.
Yeah, it's great. And I mean, I suppose it's kind of, you can, in a way, it's sort of similar to kind of like, the jackpot, spinners don't get jackpot race, in the sense that, like, you can obviously still win. It's just an extra bit of fun to have. You can still obviously win your bets, and you would be betting anyway probably. So it's just, you're playing for some extra money on top. It's a nice little bonus. You're not paying money just to enter the promotion, and that's that.
Yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
it is a good promotion. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning to the episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one, guys. Cheers.